wanted a little bit more. Islam's very good. He's very good with the Kimura locks. Dan Hooker match might be a great example where he locked one up. And I did see Islam going for that.
Let me tell you what, complete dominance. And it's depending on what we do next with him and what's going on, this guy's headed toward.
Literally got he got blanked. Like Dustin Poirier made a good account of himself.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
You love pointing out like the 39-36. That fight was not as close as y'all said it was. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, Islam was winning that. Like, dude,
you're right.
This was dominant.
You know what?
This was domination.
You're right.
Love JDM. I
Touche.
love JDM.
Touche.
So, like, that was.
I'm trying to paint
tough.
a rosier picture than it was. You're right.
It was tough
You're
from both JDM and Zhang, man. That was two non-competitive title fights.
Yeah.
Blacks kept her on the outside easily, one on the outside easily, one on the inside easily, and just completely dominated, clinching.
The highly anticipated showdown between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena has finally come to an end, and here are the pros' reactions. Before the fight, the MMA pros had wildly contrasting views on the matchup, with many believing that Della Maddalena's sharp boxing and power would be too much. In contrast, others insisted that Islam Makhachev's experience and elite grappling made him the most dangerous test yet. Before sharing his excitement, Demetrius Johnson reflected on Islam Makhachev's career and the path that brought him to this fight. He recounted Islam's previous opponents, title fights, and notable victories, showing how much experience and momentum he had built. DJ emphasized that every challenge Islam faced added to his skill, making this upcoming fight highly anticipated and significant in his career.
Super excited about this fight because, at one point, Islam was going to be fighting Ilia Topuria, but Islam, he already fought the 145-pound champ. He fought Alex Volkanovski. He fought him twice. The first time they fought, people were like, we thought Volkanovski could have won that fight. Then the second time they fought, Islam ended up knocking out Volkanovski. And then Islam would fight Dustin Poirier, beat Dustin Poirier in the back-to-back war fight. Amazing. And then he was supposed to fight Arman Tsarukyan, but Arman Tsarukyan got injured. And then Money Moicano steps up and he gets beat. Moicano gets beat by Islam Makhachev.
DJ then explained Islam Makhachev's plan to move up in weight and challenge for the welterweight title. He reflected on the UFC's current rules against double champions and Islam's motivation to compete at 170 pounds. DJ highlighted how fighting at his natural weight could give Islam more strength and endurance, making him a more dangerous and well-prepared opponent compared to previous 155-pound battles.
Islam Makhachev wants the opportunity to go up and fight for the welterweight strap. The UFC does not allow people to be double champion anymore, which I think they should. Why not in this realm of the division? But I get it. Islam wanted to go 170, Ilia Topuria wanted to go 155, and Ilia Topuria is still chasing Islam Makhachev. And one of the things we've seen in the past from Islam Makhachev is we have seen his gas tank get tested by Alex Volkanovski, but we had Islam Makhachev on the Mighty Cast. He said all of the time travel and then the time zone change and having to fight, make weight in the fight. I don't think that's going to be the case when he fights JDM because he's going up to 170. So you're going to see a strong, filled out, well-nourished Islam Makhachev. He doesn't have to cut down to 155. He basically is going there at his natural weight at 170, which a lot of people are like, oh, he's smaller. There's nothing Yeah, there's one thing to be smaller when you're fighting a bigger dude, but I don't think JDM's a massive dude.
DJ then turned his focus to Jack Della Maddalena, describing him as a dark horse with strong grappling and wrestling skills. He explained how JDM's training with Craig Jones improved his jiu-jitsu defense against Dagestani wrestlers like Islam DJ, emphasized JDM's technical striking and disciplined approach, noting that while he was skilled, it remained uncertain if his preparation would be enough to match Islam's strength and experience at 170 pounds.
That what they're dominant at, the skill for skill, it's bigger than that for me. I also look at their spirit. I look at how they're fighting. I look at the will, and with JDM, he's been carrying something for a long time. Even the fights where he wasn't doing so well in, and he still came back and was able to pull it off. And so, like I've said, this is a closer fight than most people think. But if you had to say, looking at the fights where one guy has a bigger advantage, it would be Islam in the grappling aspect. If Islam is capable of, if Islam is able to get this fight down to the canvas, I think that's where he shines, because we know if Islam jumps on the front headlock, it's a long day for a lot of people.
Kamaru Usman shifted the discussion away from pure technique and toward the mindsets of both fighters. He emphasized how JDM had consistently pushed through tough moments, proving a level of grit that couldn't be coached. At the same time, he acknowledged that Islam carried the most decisive advantage on the ground, where his top pressure and dangerous headlock setups had the ability to smother even high-level competitors.
I still want to favor Islam because of the grappling side. It just scares me a little bit of what you hear. That's all. But you're right. His front headlocks too. How he caught Moicano, how he caught, even the Kimura
Dustin Poirier
with Dustin Poirier. This is why what makes Islam Makhachev special is the fact that he can mix it all. But if he's sane, there's something that if the wrestling don't work, I'm like, all right, man, then he must really believe in his striking against a really good striker in JDM.
Henry Cejudo likewise leaned toward Islam, pointing to the danger he created in grappling transitions, especially with those trademark front headlock positions that had finished top contenders in the past. He noted that Islam's seamless blend of wrestling and striking made him unusually effective. Still, Cejudo felt that Islam's open confidence in standing with a sharp striker like JDM said a lot about how far his skill set had evolved. However, Cejudo also highlighted the risk.
I would probably say JDM. The reason why is because everybody's favoring Islam Makhachev to beat him. Everybody's already thinking Islam Makhachev is going to be a 2-division champ, as he has proclaimed that, it's the only thing that's missing in his legacy. It is JDM, because JDM will spoil the party tomorrow.
Of underestimating JDM, with many anticipating Islam to claim a second belt and further cement his legacy, he cautioned that this was precisely the kind of scenario where an underdog could flip the narrative. He argued that JDM possessed the mentality and timing to derail those championship plans if Islam wasn't fully dialed in.
I think Islam has more to gain here than JDM does. It's a close one, but I say that because Islam wins. Islam now is a 2-division champion. Islam now says, you know what? I could have been a welterweight champion before, but I just chose not to go up to challenge. Islam win. Islam now ties the longest win streak in UFC history. Islam has more to gain here because he wins. He just bested the weight class above him. JDM wins. Of course, you have those casual fans out there that are going to go, oh, he's bigger anyways. Oh, he should have won. He should have done this. He should have done that. He fought a smaller guy. The same way people kind of ridiculed Islam for beating Alexander Volkanovski.
In contrast, Kamaru Usman pushed back by saying that Islam had much more to gain from this matchup. A win would cement him as a rare 2-division champion, extend his remarkable streak, and show that he could dominate the weight class above. He added that if JDM came out on top, many fans might still minimize the achievement because of the size narrative, much like reactions seen in previous cross-division bouts.
I don't think Islam will keep categorizing him as a wrestler. Islam's not a wrestler. Islam's a judo sambo guy. Islam will catch you and trip you and put you down. Islam's not I'm going to shoot a double leg like I shot a double leg on Joaquin Buckley, took him down. Islam's not that type of guy. Islam is finesse, when you lock up, he gets you up against the cage. You don't even think so. Boom. You see the inside trip or you see the outside trip. You saw what he did to DC at practice one back in the day. You know, that's Islam. But when he gets you down, his top pressure and his ground and pound and his ability to move to get you in a position to catch a submission is advanced.
Usman further described Islam's grappling as far from conventional wrestling, blending Sambo and judo-inspired maneuvers that often surprised his opponents. He pointed out Islam's skill in unbalancing fighters, steering them against the cage, and smoothly moving into commanding positions. From there, Usman observed Islam maintained relentless control while seamlessly shifting into strikes or submission attempts, making him a formidable threat on the mat.
I wouldn't say that. I the same way I won't think the other guy you mentioned is a top-notch wrestler. It's not. It's just the style of fighting that overwhelms guys. But listen, JDM, as great as he is too, there is holes there. JDM is primarily a boxer. But what impressed me in his last fight, in his last win, was the fact that not only was he a southpaw boxer, JDM switched stance effortlessly into orthodox boxing, sticking and moving his head and slipping and making him miss and then making him pay at the same time. It looked impressive. I think this fight is a lot closer than most people think. I would still kind of give the edge to Islam if this fight does get down to the ground. And so that's a tough one. That's a tough one for me. Very tough.
Moreover, Usman emphasized that both fighters weren't traditional wrestlers, but instead relied on styles designed to overpower opponents. He commended JDM's striking versatility, highlighting his ability to change stances fluidly and employ head movement to exploit openings. Even with JDM's striking prowess, Usman maintained that Islam held the advantage on the mat, making the contest a truly close and unpredictable battle.
If I had to pick right now, Jack, I want Jack to get it done. I really do. I really want Jack to win, but I think Islam is going to take him down and submit him. I do. His control on the ground is too good. I don't know if Jack is training with any guys at his level. And again, you train all these things. You train separating the hands. You train doing Granbys. You train doing like these Uchimata throws he was doing. But once you feel somebody like Islam, and it's another level of grip strength. His chances is he can create scrambles, try to get into the later rounds. Jack's got great cardio. There's ways for him to win, but I do see Islam Makhachev being a little bit too much at this point. I got Islam Makhachev winning by submission. I hate to say it, but I think that's going to happen.
Tim Welch confessed that he hoped JDM could engineer an upset, but remained skeptical given Islam's world-class grappling. He acknowledged Jack's impressive striking and conditioning, yet pointed out that Islam's dominance and control, grip strength, and ability to generate scrambles elevated him above most opponents. For Welch, these elements made a submission win for Islam the most probable result.
There's no way. This guy is really good.
This is Islam's toughest fight to date. GDM is very, very good. He's young. He have talent, you know. But I still believe Islam is the pound for pound the best fighter in the world. I believe it's Islam's toughest fight. But I believe Islam is gonna go out there and he's gonna put on a great performance. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm very confident because I see the last 3.5 weeks with Islam, the things he does. The Islam today will beat the hell out of the old Islam. We'll stop him in 2 rounds. The Islam now will beat the Islam who fought.
Meanwhile, Ali Abdelaziz described this as Islam's most formidable challenge to date, recognizing JDM's youth and skill. Nevertheless, he expressed complete confidence in Islam's preparation and growth, emphasizing the improvements he had observed in recent weeks. Abdelaziz believed that the current version of Islam was sharper, stronger, and more commanding than ever, fully capable of producing a decisive and impressive performance despite the matchup's difficulty.
I really don't know, because if JDM comes in and he's able to establish his fakes like he did with Bilal and establish his range like he did with Bilal, I think he's going to be a really difficult fight for Makhachev. And then Makhachev adjusting to 170 might not be that easy. I know it's easier to go up in weight, but adjusting isn't that simple. So Yeah, I'm gonna lean with JDM, but not by much.
On the other hand, Beneil Dariush pointed out that JDM's striking and mastery of distance could present significant challenges for Islam, particularly if he capitalized on feints and timing. He also noted that stepping up to welterweight isn't always seamless, as adapting to the heavier division can affect a fighter's output. Although Dariush leaned slightly toward JDM, he stressed that the matchup remained too tight to predict with certainty.
This is why it's important. I'm letting you know, my prediction is already done. My prediction is already in. Guys, I'm not sure I'm standing with it. And one thing that does happen to me, I think this happens to a lot of people, but I'm susceptible to it as well, which is I can get influenced by others on fight week. You know, I can come out with my opinion, and then I can get to the actual venue. And then that's where I run into John Anik and, hey, what do you think's going to happen here? Maybe he says something that surprises me. And then I go grab Anthony Smith. Hey, Anthony, we're riding in the car going to do so. Hey, what do you think?
Moreover, Chael Sonnen joined the discussion and revealed something few analysts admit. He often changes his mind during fight week. Hearing insights from commentators like John Anik and fighters like Anthony Smith makes him reconsider his predictions. And if even Chael feels uncertain, it's clear this fight could go any direction, promising a truly unpredictable showdown.
My official prediction is Islam Makhachev. Now, my official method of victory is decision. Very difficult time thinking that Islam could finish Jack. I have too high of a respect for Jack. I remember the first time, I remember being the one that brought him to you guys. And he got brought to me by my producer, Ryan Parsons. Hey, you see this guy? And Ryan married a gal from Australia, so he loves Australia. But when he sees this Australian fighter, he's like, chill, you got to see this guy, Jack Della Maddalena. We didn't know how to say Jack Della Maddalena. So we're the ones at Bad Guy Inc. that named him JDM. We're the ones that did that.
Furthermore, Chael Sonnen forecasted a decision victory for Islam, pointing to the challenge of finishing JDM given his resilience and skill. He reflected on his personal connection to JDM's early career, remembering how he first met the Australian fighter and even played a part in creating the nickname JDM. Sonnen's perspective underscored both his respect for Jack and his belief in Islam's strategy.
Jack can beat Islam. That Jack that Belal Muhammad had to face not only can beat Islam, he will beat Islam, but I don't know if that Jack can repeat himself, right? I mean, there's times in your career where you fight outside of your gloves. There's just times where, for whatever reason, and you don't know, and your coaches don't know, and you do your best to recreate that evening. That's the evening that Jack had when he became the world champion. That Jack can beat Islam. But I think that Islam can drag him down and Islam can get on top of him enough. I also think that the idea that if they're standing up, it's Jack, and if they're on the ground, it's Islam.
Chael then broke down why this matchup is so perilous for both fighters. He noted that Jack's striking could pose serious challenges for Islam, particularly since fighters often exceed expectations under pressure. At the same time, he highlighted Islam's clear grappling edge. Ultimately, this isn't a simple striker versus grappler scenario. Both bring significant threats, and a single error from either could decide the fight in an instant.
I mean, this fight is truly one of those fights where your heart says something but your mind says something else. I love Jack Della. I think he's an incredible fighter. I love watching him fight. He's always entertaining. He goes through these wars, and his style, he just has this nonchalant, let's do this. He's very calm, very relaxed. He can go to distance. We've seen that. How good he did against Belal was incredible. I mean, Belal is really good wrestling, especially when he's enforcing his plan. And Jack Della didn't care. He has that anti-wrestling working with Craig Jones, and it's been so effective. But that being said, if you look at his opponents versus Makhachev's opponents,
Dricus du Plessis also weighed in without holding back. He expressed admiration for Jack, praising his calm, fluid style and how entertaining he is to watch. He noted that Jack has faced tough wrestlers like Bal and honed his anti-wrestling skills with Craig Jones. DDP acknowledged Jack's strength and dedication, but when considering Islam's resume and pound-for-pound ranking, he found it difficult to bet against the champion.
Makhachev has beaten the who's who. He is where he is, and he was pound for pound for very long. Pound for pound king for a very good reason. People think Jack Della's going to be bigger. I don't think so. I've now lately seen, and that's why they did such a long camp, to pick up that weight correctly. And he looks big, and he looks thick, and he looks strong. I mean, no doubt, he's a hard worker. But this one, I think, with Jack Della, I love his style. I love him. I like his personality. I would love for him to win that belt, but unfortunately, I cannot go against Makhachev in this one. I think he is just so good. I think he's so good, and I don't think he's going to give up anything going up a weight. I think he's going to be great at that weight, to be honest.
But DDP was honest about his pick. While he admires Jack's style and personality, he can't see himself betting against Islam. He expects Islam to handle the move up in weight seamlessly and maintain control throughout the fight. His experience, discipline, and preparation give him the clear advantage. DDP believes Islam is on track to make history as a 2-division champion, yet he also respects Jack's skills and acknowledges that it won't be a walk in the park.
So the reason I wanted to cover that is because it was kind of weird the way Islam said he wasn't relinquishing his belt, then all of a sudden he was. And then the UFC's promoting this. They got belts in front of Islam as well as Wei Li, but they're no longer actual champions. So essentially the UFC is still promoting these as super fights, champion versus champion, while offloading the belt in other divisions so they can headline other pay-per-views or other massive events, I guess, in 2026. With those very same titles. Essentially, that's what they're doing now. They're kind of double dipping. They're saying Islam's still a champ. They still have the title in front of Islam. They still have the title in front of Wei Li. Wei Li had her moment. I love you, New York. And essentially, that's just what they're doing. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. They just want to free up the titles to be able to headline other events with those very same titles. So that's kind of what they're doing. But Islam, you can tell Islam isn't happy that he had to relinquish his lightweight title.
MMA, Joey discussed the unique circumstances around Islam's titles, pointing out that although he was no longer the official lightweight champion, the UFC still promoted him in connection with the belt. This approach enables the organization to headline major events with super fights while moving the belts in other divisions. Despite the ongoing promotion, it was evident that Islam wasn't pleased about relinquishing his championship.
What is it going to mean if Islam wins and now you add him as like a permanent fixture, or at least a semi-permanent fixture in this division? To me, there's this big argument all the time. What's the best division in the sport? You can make it now already, but I think after Saturday, it's going to be very, very clear. 170 is the division of kings, and we're in for a great 2026 if these guys can stay healthy and stay active.
Looking at the broader picture, Luke Thomas shared his perspective on the implications of an Islam victory. He explained that this fight isn't just a single matchup. It has the potential to reshape the entire welterweight division. A win could shake up the rankings, influence future bouts, and set the direction for 2026. For Islam, it's not merely about claiming a belt, it's about asserting dominance over an entire weight class.
JDM can handle the grappling of Islam, or whether Islam can get the better of him on the feet in this matchup?
The first. Could Islam get the better of him on the feet? Of course. I mean, they're wearing small gloves. There's a lot of things moving different directions. It's MMA. It's wild. It's chaotic. Absolutely. But really, it comes down to Islam being able to mix the game up. Can he or can't he? And if he can, to what extent and where, and what does it yield? That's where this fight is won and lost. That is where everything happens. Because if it's just straight up, if I told you Islam can't get him down and can't hold him for any meaningful time against the fence, that would make the pick relatively easy. You would just pick JDM. But we don't know if that's the case, and we don't know to what extent it will be the case, even if it's at least somewhat true. That is the main focus of this fight.
Luke also analyzed what could ultimately determine the outcome of the fight. He noted that striking in MMA is inherently unpredictable, so the key factor is whether Islam can effectively blend his grappling with his striking. If he can dictate when the fight hits the mat while remaining a threat on the feet, Jack may struggle to respond. Conversely, if Jack keeps the action standing, Islam could find himself in trouble very quickly.
Okay, and the main event, the one that everyone is here for, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Nick, it pains me to say it, I'm going with Islam. And that's not a knock on Jack. Jack has done an unbelievable job to get to the top of this division. He is the reigning champion. But I just look at Islam's build. The guy's squatting 160 kilos. Everyone in his camp, from Javier Mendez to Khabib, saying he's bullying everyone. He's fit as he can be.
Luke Rockhold came out and said that Islam bullied him when they were grappling. So the guy's got strength.
I just think it may be a bit too much for Jack. And Jack's a great grappler, but I think there's going to be a big difference between Bilal and Islam.
John Bernard Kairouz also chimed in, siding with Islam. He acknowledged Jack's accomplishments in winning the belt and reaching the top, but emphasized that Islam's strength, size, and conditioning operate on a different level. Training alongside Khabib, Islam squats 160 kilos and pushes himself intensely in grappling sessions. An elite level of physicality that could overwhelm Jack. Nick Kairouz shared his perspective on how the fight might unfold. He believes Jack will fight hard, but Islam's grappling will dictate the pace Islam will continuously hunt for takedowns, control the action on the mat, and force Jack to work relentlessly just to return to his feet. Nick predicts a decision win for Islam, a tight contest, but one where his ground dominance secures the victory while Jack displays heart and skill throughout.
You say that because he's all about proving people wrong, but Islam is just such a short price favorite coming into this. And the same way when Ilya went up and everyone was talking about his size, when Volk even went up to face Islam the first time, I don't think size is that big of a factor. I feel
and you saw them facing off. There's not much between them.
Once they put on that size and are accustomed to fighting people, the skill difference that they possess is what kind of carries them through the fight. And look, I feel like the only time where it hasn't really worked out for a fighter was maybe when Izzy Adesanya went up. And that's where the size difference kind of was a massive advantage.
And Volk in the second fight.
That was a short notice. We don't count that. But look, I really want to back the Aussie here. I do feel like Jack's going to put on a really good show. I don't see Islam getting the finish like some people are saying. But if I feel like it does go to a decision fight, Islam's going to probably edge it out in the decision, because if he does dominate the grappling exchanges, yes, Jack can get back to his feet, but he's got to really outstrike him when he gets back to the feet. And if Jack doesn't do that, I just feel like Islam's going to keep shooting. He's going to do what Merab does, keep shooting, try and control him on the ground, and then just edge out a short decision victory.
Now it's your turn. How did you see this fight playing out? Were your predictions on point, or did the outcome catch you by surprise? And tell us, who was your pick going into this war? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more breakdowns, reactions, and all the biggest stories in combat sports.